We've heard this question 1,000 times. Does gear matter? Well, we're finally going to end this argument today. And just so you know, gear does matter. And if you don't agree, I've got news for you. This argument has been in the film community for decades, and I honestly have no idea why it's even still a conversation. On one end, we have a group that says gear doesn't matter. It's the person using the gear that matters. But you still have to use the gear. And I mean, I get what they're trying to say. Like, someone with experience using an iPhone can film and create something better than maybe somebody that's using an Arri Alexa, especially if they've never touched a camera before. And just because you go out and buy the exact same gear as someone else doesn't mean that you're going to be able to create the same quality. This I can wholeheartedly agree with. But if you are going to go and film anything with experience, and especially for a big budget client, you're not going to show up and use an iPhone. You're just not. Now, I know what most people like to argue. Oh, you know the latest Apple event was all shot on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, right? And to that I say, yeah, I do know that. But do you also know that the rig alone that they hooked up to the iPhone costs more than what most households' annual income? I would also ask them if you know that the amount of hard drives that they went through cost more than the iPhone itself. And let's not even mention the lighting that they use to accomplish all of that. And even with all of that, there was still something that you just couldn't get around on the iPhone. And that's the depth of field. You can try and use cinematic mode to get some more depth, but we all know that that mode drastically reduces the camera quality. So what do you have to do in a scenario like that? Use the right gear to get the desired look that you're going for. One thing I can guarantee is Apple will not be shooting the rest of their promotional content or commercials on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. They will go back to the Arris, they will go back to their lenses, and they will be using all the gear that they used before to produce their content. Why? Because they do not want to be limited by an iPhone. And on top of that, they have a reputation in the tech space that tells the market they are a leader in that space. So everything they do has to look and feel a certain way. I will, however, say that buying gear should not be your main objective. I know gas is a real thing. I know how good buying new gear makes you feel. And I know how exciting it could be to believe that you're able to create better content that will potentially find you better clients. I understand this fully. It at times could be blinding to the bigger picture, which is to create content that holds people's attention with a good story. Instead, especially when starting out, you need to learn how to shape and use light. You need to understand the exposure triangle. You need to learn the responsibilities of your role you potentially get hired for. And most importantly, you need to learn how to create ideas that tell a story and invoke emotions out of the audience. The type of gear you use will only amplify the way it looks, but it will not be the reason why people stay. If you still disagree with me, I want you to think about this. A big budget client that you've wanted to work with for a long time reaches out to you on like Instagram or something, and they want you to shoot their next campaign for their website. They let you know right up front that their budget is $80,000. Let's just say you don't own a single camera, a single lens, or a single light, nothing. What's the first thing you're gonna do? Come on. You know the answer. Like, don't even try and make this complicated. Once you have the idea for the campaign covered, you're gonna take that budget, go to the first rental house website you can think of, and start figuring out what you need to shoot this campaign. Why? Because if you don't have any gear or access to gear, what are you gonna shoot it on? Hopes and dreams? Immediately after that, you're going to start thinking about assembling your crew and how you're going to be able to help shape and execute the vision using the gear that you decide to rent. I don't want you guys to watch this video and be like, okay, Dan, I need to go out there and buy a red camera and 4 aperture lights and 10 lenses. Like, no. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is, learn the rules of the game, and when you're ready, don't let social media make you feel like buying or renting gear makes you some kind of bad guy. It's just simply not true. When I started, I went from an iPhone to a DSLR that shot in 1080p, which at the time wasn't too bad because 4K wasn't really mainstream or anything yet. I did what I could with my 1080p camera with a max of 24 frames per second. Then all of a sudden 4K at 60 frames was a thing, and slow motion with that crispy 4K look took over. That's when I decided I needed to upgrade to a camera that gave me 4K and 60 frames per second. Again, for a short while, that worked. But then I was like, damn, this kit lens with a 4.0 aperture doesn't allow me to work well in low light, and I also don't have the ability to get a shorter depth of field. So I got faster lenses. Then I was like, okay, I want to start recording audio so that when I shoot, I can add more elements to the story. Now I need a mic, because scratch audio sounds terrible. From there, I started buying lights and light stands, and you can imagine the more I learned, the more areas I saw where I could improve. So I purchased what I wanted. Could I still be shooting with my 1080p camera and use scratch audio? Probably. But I simply would not be able to compete or produce content at a level that's comparable to the creators in today's market. We all have been to a wedding where we had that one uncle that bought a camcorder in 2003 that's there filming everything like he's paid to be there. Then you see the footage and it looks exactly like something from 2003. I wasn't trying to be that guy. Just because you own a Sony FX3 with less experience than someone else doesn't mean you're a terrible person for buying gear. It doesn't make you any less than someone with more experience. It makes you someone that just simply wants to improve and is willing to invest in yourself to take the next steps. If you do wake up tomorrow and you say, hey, you know what? I want to start getting better audio. And you decide that you're going to go and buy the DJI Mic Kit 2. I say go for it. It's a great system that's going to help you capture audio. If you decide that you want to start adding controlled light and decide to buy the Aperture 300X, do it. Don't make someone you saw on TikTok make you feel like you're a moron for doing so. But just make sure you have the knowledge behind it all so that it's a practical reason so that those tools can actually help you make money. When I say a practical reason, I mean, for the past 4 months, you've been shooting a podcast 2 times a week and you needed a 3-camera setup. Problem is you only have one. So for every show, you had to rent 2 other cameras. This will be a reason where buying 2 separate camera bodies would just make sense. It's helping you complete the job that you have, and over time, only that will help you save on rental costs. Put it this way, gear should have 3 primary uses. The first thing is to help improve the quality of whatever you're currently capable of creating. The second thing is it should help you save time when creating that content. And the third reason is to make everyone around envy you. All right, I'm totally kidding about that. But your gear, if positioned properly, can be used as another income source if you decide to rent it out. And a bonus to add to that, if you own the equipment, you can charge a client a rental fee rather than them paying a rental house. So here's my conclusion. Don't buy gear to learn. Learn to use gear. As you progress through your career, you will at some point need to know your way around equipment that's expected for certain levels. And as you get to those new levels, you start realizing very quickly that in order to achieve certain looks, you need to buy or rent gear. There's just no way around it. As long as you don't just go and look at YouTube videos, see what everybody else is using, and then decide that you want to buy everything they have, and just automatically think that you're going to be able to produce the quality of content they are, you should be fine. But hey, that's my 2 cents. If you disagree or agree, let's talk in the comments. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if this video helped you in any way, go ahead and hit the like button as well. Thanks for watching, guys. And remember to look, learn, and share. Take it easy, guys. Peace.